Yay. Okay, so I'm sure on the microphone you could hear me. Um, when you regress into this business about you think you're doing site evals and passwords and pass keys and you need a fingerprint, okay. If you could please try to control that because you seem to have a better persona and binder than Brian Buchanan. You don't want to end up like him, right? For the rest of your time. Okay. So, anyways, wrapping up a damnation and condemnation of Man at Health. Okay, because they're sending me a voicemail that Brian Buchanan has a telehealth appointment on something something. And if you're going to attend, I am not attending because Brian Buchanan is not with Mary Buchanan any longer by his choice. Okay. Clearly, I'm still the man's emergency contact. And again, I'm supposed to be his intensive out treatment program that he left. Okay. So I'm sure, like in terms of the halfway house, he could go back to the halfway house after what happened because I asked him several times and he chooses not to, just like he did here. Okay. Like it's all in the text messages about if you, because he wasn't even in Quincy. If you want to use again, then go to Quincy. If not, do this. And then he went to Quincy and he gave this whole presentation like it's a psychopathic, hurtful action towards me. Okay, so that's the sadness of a psychopath's existence. That's why they fly into a rage like that when they're not tricking you anymore. I like to get a rise. I'm not your mother. Okay, I'm not your mother. So, anyways, it's important to know that those types of abuses will never end. That's like a huge increase, uptick in the amount of marijuana that a person has because his binder is dying and he won't accept the persona that God gave him to die in. Okay. I went over much of that with him. So if you're a person just experiencing this, he was given all sorts of chances to develop a new personality for himself that would make it a much more pleasant existence and a pleasant death for him. And he rejected all of that. Some of them do. Okay. So, anyways, it's like this is another thing about Brian Buchanan. Okay. When we left the shelter after whatever happened and we had to leave, okay, there's only so many times I can have something happen and then I end up on the street homeless. There's only so many times that's going to happen. I literally gave up a bed and I don't think those people would ever give me a voucher, but the perception is there that I lost housing because of him. Okay. And then he gave a whole presentation here about losing housing again. And that he, in a vindictive insanity, if you don't give him drugs and money, he tries to have you kicked out of your housing. So it's not a person to bring into your housing, even though you think it is, it's not. Some people just go, if they were using you, and then they just leave. They might be mad, but they don't go, I'll have you kicked out of here tonight. Your sister knows you're crazy. This is disabled elderly housing. Okay, so he whatever. I can't care. I cannot care. But anyways, so he clearly didn't need any stuff. He was in a rage and wanted money. And I feel like he gets like that because God won't let him do that stuff to me at that time. So so when we had to leave the shelter, he had an opportunity to take a small bag of clothes out of a locker and he chose not to because he gets off on getting people to buy him things like he thinks he's tricking people all the time. You're not tricking them, they're just kind. And there's a reason why you hate kind, good, loving people, Brian Buchanan, because you're psychopathically deranged. Okay, that's why you do that repeatedly. You get off on thinking that you're tricking these people all of the time. It's a sadness to you because you're not tricking anybody. Okay, so you're filled with the trickster because you're mentally insane. So his stuff is going into a dumpster. I don't even know if it's going to go to donations, just like the shelter did. Okay, so I don't know what to do about a watch. That's about the only thing that can be conceived as actually his property. Right, and I made every effort, and it's all in the text messages. No one cares about legalities, but in terms of explaining it to myself and him, I'm sure he doesn't care about the watch. He's deranged because he could not get me to link up a PayPal card that he has to my bank account. He tried repeatedly to do it. So watch out for the PayPals and the Chimes. They will act. He said he was going to do surveys, and a bunch of them are doing it. The John guy that he's talking about that hangs out at the library with the red ball cap, watch out for him. Okay, because he told me that he does them all the time. What they're doing is they're trying to get you to believe that they're going to put that money on your bank account. That's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to clear out your bank account. It's amazing, and it doesn't have to make sense because they're mentally deranged. You would think a man in that thing where I go to a bank and take it out, he would have asked me to get a bank card from my bank and just clear out the bank account and go. But they're mentally insane. It's part of their enjoyment in life that they're doing weird stuff like that. Just like I knew it was odd when he was told not to tell anybody where we were, and he immediately started telling people at Man at Health where we were. He does it on purpose. He's like sadistically insane. Ring off, go to Facebook. I'm divorced, ring on. And he literally laughed and said, I just like to get a rise out of you. Okay, well, I'm glad that you admitted all that. You made a lot of admittance since we came here. Okay, so God put you in a lull where all of that seemed normal. I don't know what is going on between you and Heather at the shelter, and I don't care. I could tell that you were geared up to try to get with that Ashley chick, not the employee. I noticed things. As soon as he saw that she had a marijuana vape and she's clearly got a history of drug use, he wouldn't stop staring at her. Right. And just know this, and they probably don't care because it's a whole weird thing. All he's looking for is your marijuana vape. I mean, I don't mean to be mean because there's probably some of you that are 25 and you're all going to tell yourselves that no, you're the person that Brian Buchanan likes. Brian Buchanan doesn't like anybody. I've seen Brian Buchanan in his true self. He doesn't like anyone. Okay. So I slept pretty good last night, like I said, because before I was still in a denial and hoping that he would come back. Okay. And as you could see, no contact at all. And he probably got more flipped out after the nice text messages. It's not, and it's sort of like 2023. He only has an interest if he's agitating me and stuff because it's like a child that's deranged. Okay, it's not an adult man, it's like a child that's deranged. And he's like getting a rise out of keeping me constantly worried and stuff like he used to do to his family, I'm sure, before they realized what they had. I'm sure it's more difficult for your family to come to a realization of what you actually are. And I would say it was God Almighty that forced him to tell that woman it wasn't her fault, just for them to get away from each other finally or something. Like God is kind like that. I mean, it's not your fault, but he told me that you and the man that you produced him with were both using crack. And you allowed that man to be around the child that was a crack baby, and that's what it's turned out to be. And then you allowed it out into society. You threw it away to a foster care in DCF, and then it's been in society for 37 years, doing nothing but those behaviors to people. So I told Denise, and it's true, she can just completely let it go. The man's legally married to me, and I'm his emergency contact. So you don't need to get phone calls from anyone, from a prison asking for bail money, from a hospital, um, any of that, a morgue. All of those notifications should be going to me. Okay, so in 2023, there was weirdness going on where a population felt that they were supposed to separate two people or something. You're going to do what you're going to do. You have to decide that, and you don't care about legalities and stuff. And you're going to tell yourself that that person can make conscious decisions for himself. But on the other hand, you're saying that he's deranged and you're giving him all these meds and stuff. And he has to go to the special housing, but yet he can make decisions for himself. So you don't have to make any sense in your heads. Get it? Okay, I hope you do get it, because I have a therapist and I have a diagnosis, and I do this. Okay, so It can't be both things, and it's not a purpose of helping us stay together. It's just so that his family doesn't have to deal with all of that. Okay. So that assets, I doubt he's ever going to get Social Security. You might have that wants to take over his Social Security case. He's got to be legally divorced. So you would have to him legally divorce me. Right. Like some people get deranged like that. You want to take on a person that sick. I hope you're planning on forcing him to be medicated with like heavy dose lithium and drooling. And then you've got to caretake him unless you're going to hire people. It's Social Security. He's not Barbara Kent. He's not going to get $3,600 a month. He's not a veteran. Okay. And then housing and all this. He can't be housed in disabled housing. He displayed that. Okay. So I'm sure I'm not the first old cunt this person has run into and then demanded money out of the purse. Like some person was probably dumb enough to pick him up off the street or at a party or a bar and bring him. He told me that this happens all the time and bring him to her place. And the next thing she knows, he's doing exactly that. Like if you tell anybody, I will have you kicked out of here. He probably punch her in the face, smash her phone if she tried to call for help and steal all of them. So people have told me in the past that they've had things happen to them with these things that can't be helped. Right. Let the person that legally married him handle that for you. Your message, all due respect. Okay. Because it's been months now that you've been aware of all of this. And I don't know if you're conniving in your heads or something, the same insanity about separating us. I know. So you need to really realize what's going on with you mentally. It's all in the text messages that I made every effort to get this man what he feels is his stuff and his shit. So, and then it's all in the text messages, and I'm sure he doesn't actually care because he'll go out and then trick somebody into giving him more clothes. Okay. Right. He didn't care about the clothes. He got rid of really nice shoes I got him for the wedding. He does it on purpose to hurt you. He anything that he feels is gonna bug you and hurt you, he does. So I tried to help him get Social Security, and the next step would have been a lawyer because he clearly qualifies for Social Security. He's mentally insane. Someone in his family could be tricked into doing this big to do because if that bitch isn't gonna get that money, they might be tricked into doing that. Just remember, it's all just a big trick in your own head when you are aware now of what's going on, and it's more comfortable for Christians to not be doing weird stuff like that because it helps them die in a more peaceful manner. So you don't have to listen to me, but I suggest that you don't fall into that trap. You people get insane by greed and money as you're dying. It's just all you can cling to because the money is what has contained you in these bodies on planet Earth. That's why you have a monetary system, and that's the only thing you care about. Okay. So when he said he likes money and stuff, he meant all that because he's not a human being. Those types of psychopathic drug addicts like money is so they can get drugs. So they're more dangerous in a sense because they can't even be contained with money. Except if you give them a bunch of money, they die faster from their using. That's about it. Right, because they're getting off on the things that they're doing. So, all right, so the rest of this is mine. This is dirty clothes. It is going into the dumpster. I mean, I'm cleared of that after the 3 days, which weren't 4. Sorry, I'm feeling like I slept and feel better now. So yeah, that was a couple of days of me clearly trying to help you reconnect with your clothing in your hotspot. I don't have any reason to go to Manor Health to drop that thing off. I guess I could if there's going to be a problem. Just drive there and drop it off and leave. So, like I said, I don't know if his NIC appointments. It would make sense to me that he would make sure his NIC appointments went to his phone and not mine, because that's all he cares about is those prescriptions. That's why he didn't go to eye appointment. That's why he has the Jane thing once a month, and he sits there saying nothing that has nothing to do with other people in the room. Maybe she knows that, and she doesn't care. She doesn't care that he's doing that. He had every opportunity to go in my sister's room or out in the stoop. It wasn't cold that day, and it's a wireless, my Chromebook, and that he actually logged me out of, and I haven't. I get worried. Anything where my phone, I don't want anything, passwords and stuff changed on my phone. And I felt like at times that he was doing stuff like that on purpose too. I didn't like him having access to my phone. And sometimes don't fall victim to these people. Don't fall victim to these people. Don't fall victim to these people. If you have banking in your phone, don't let these people hold your phone. Okay. If you don't have banking in your phone, he could be trying to download some sort of an app that fucks with your phone. Right. It's just, you have to, it doesn't have to make sense. You have to believe me and understand. It doesn't have to make sense. It's anything that messes with you because he's mentally insane. Just like leaving the library. Whatever that was, ha 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 ha, because they need that and then they go use. It's a very, very sad existence. Okay, so this stuff's mine. I don't know if it's all going to fit in this Target bag. I'm just hoping, and then it just goes right in the dumpster. Yeah, I'm ready for it today to do this stuff. It was good to listen to the voicemails. Definitely good. So. Yeah, like I explained last year to everybody, and that's why, there has to be a they involved in it. Okay, they have, and then I said if the Denise all of a sudden starts talking to him again, then they're all the same, right? Because he told family was like that. They're all on crack cocaine and they're all insane like that. It amounts to nothing but God containing them. And like I said, if they want to be more comfortable, it's better off to just try to become Christians and tell yourselves you're St. Augustine and stuff. You don't have to listen to me. Just told him never to go back there unless he wanted to use. And then he thinks he's hurting me when he's not. He cut off his money flow. I always say that too, but God doesn't really work like that. I would hope that I would get my Social Security because of the compassion of other Christians. Right. It's just the right thing to do so I have something to live on, and then maybe finally rent a trailer somewhere in Florida and just live the rest of my life, which would be nice. But if you really want to stick it, if you're a female and you really want to stick it to one of these dudes like that Brian Buchanan person, you would just suddenly flood me with money and make sure he knew about it. Because he couldn't hold it together. But like, you got to remember, I don't even know if that's important to him. But he wouldn't be able to trick me anymore. Yeah, she's just getting her own. She got a house and she's getting all this money now. And you could have been using her and messing with her for another 5 years. If I had access to that stuff as a female, that's the type of stuff I would do. I don't even have to know you or like you. Just... honest to God, that's how you get at these people. If you want to, you don't want to go psychopathic, but you do it and laugh about it. Not you become insane and obsessed with it like they do. Now's the time to hit the lottery. Exactly. Because they know, even if they hit the lottery, they can never be normal. Right. And it bothers them that they're not normal. Don't let them fool you. It bothers them that they can never be a normal person. You can tell by the things that anger them. right? Just just a whole bunch of stepkids. He wants that to be true as he's talking to Gavin. He wants to trick Gavin because I can't hear what Gavin is asking him. Right. It goes beyond even he's probably going to tell himself he's tricking them, but he wanted that to be true. He wanted that to be true and real, and he's never going to have that for himself. Yeah, like I said, there wasn't really much clean clothes, and he was told to pack his backpack. So, yeah, I mean, in the domestic violence that occurred, they would go, all of that is nonsense. Like, someone probably told him, if you keep it up, she might have to get a restraining order against you. So you need to stop it. I don't know if this would bother a person like that. Not when he's on heavy dose lithium for the rest of his life. But whoever it is that's going to have to care for him is never going to love him. He's never going to have something like me ever again. He's not going to get it through a relationship or a family member. They're going to actually be loved. At the end, when you just can't stop with your attachment disorder and telling yourself it's still trickery and stuff. So I'm sure the pity factor ran out with his quote unquote family a long time ago. And probably the only way he can get their attention again is if he has prescriptions. I saw what he was doing. That's the only way he has a friend like Mike or anybody, is because he has that Adderall. And he has to tell himself that he's a big time Adderall dealer and stuff, and a big time meth head and stuff. And these people, he knows himself. They all know themselves. And so they know that every drug user is doing the same thing, and they know it. Oh yeah, just the text message and it wasn't in a mean way. It was supposed to be funny. Like, I still thought it was still in my head, I still wouldn't accept it. The ending text messages to the night text to the husband and all loving and showing the picture that my ring is back on and stuff. And in the stuff about the fire in the sky and the nuclear weapons, and he could have had the opportunity to die believing that he had a family. And that's going to be the kaput for that person, believe me. Still trying to contact Denise all that time, talking about his mother and father, giving me a tour of where he grew up and stuff. He wanted to be that, and he can't. So it's kaput at that point, believe me. So I'm really trying not to revel in it, but it helps me heal to know that. It's not like other people. You know how when you have a breakup and I don't know. I've never really, even when I never had hard feelings toward Alfred until he took my children and started doing all this weird stuff. I just figured it was like we had come to the point of just being roommates. We always were just roommates, and it was unfortunate that him and his girlfriend didn't handle it differently. You're killing me, Smalls. Like, he's got to, why would you even say that? Because he thought he had a family here. So I got the dinner at the church today, so I got to go to that. Even though I don't want to, I got to drag myself there because I know I need to. And he had to put a sour note on that last month because he doesn't want to be around a bunch of old people. Get it? And he wanted marijuana, and the money allotment for that time was up. And he doesn't even care if he does this stuff in public, trying to distance himself from me and stuff. Like, that probably worked on his mother and his aunt and stuff for a while, but punishing the person until they do what he wants. Like, I left him at daycare. You don't need maroon pants, dude. Just the level of, I know, just a cuteness, all that cuteness, the cute boy at the library, and I came up to him and all. He can't, but he wants to. So that's a living, breathing hell for a psychopath until God finally lets him die. Oh yeah, just they all know you're crazy. You know how many people have probably been dragged away in an ambulance and have to be given a shot saying that? It sucks when you believe that the person is just sick. It sucks to have to because and it's not that you don't believe what they're telling you. You just it sucks that they're sick like that. You feel bad for them. So um going to downtown, crossing real quick and ha ha ha. Like you can actually hear them laughing and you go, do you guys like are you still smart psychopaths? Like it's the world wide web. It's that Tom guy. Now he's just going to spend the rest of his life doing what he wants because you know that you're a psychopath too. That's why you have it. You probably did this stuff to her for God knows how many years until she finally had to accept you for what you are. And not you really want to just do that for the rest of your life. There's nothing else you can because your life of tormenting people, trying to tell yourself like a little child that you're hurting your parents because they don't love you enough, and that thing can never be satisfied because it's a sickness within yourselves. So you don't have a choice but to tell yourself that Tom guy. You really don't. All right, so the rest, this is my dirty clothes. I'm going to put all my dirty clothes in this. His stuff's going into the dumpster. Except probably I might keep the watch because I might gift it to somebody. You never know what's going to happen in life. And I'll find an actual cute person and we'll both wear those watches. That's what he was presenting to me so we can answer it on our phones and stuff like Candy does. He wanted that. But then here comes his true self that because his brain's dying, he can't even, like, he has to go into another persona for God to contain him now. That's what they do. I've witnessed it. So when they decide they're St. Augustine and stuff, don't question it. But when they do what Brian has done, yes, you can talk like me because you have to make sure you don't go back to them. And the public needs to know about a person who, even if he wants to stay in your housing and use you, he can't do it. He gets violent. You need to look at his court record. If you haven't gone to court with him, you need to go to court with him and find out exactly what all these court cases are. Okay. I was trying when I thought that the man was just mentally ill, like a bipolar or schizophrenia, and I tried to help him. I was trying to avoid him having to spend the rest of his life in Bridgewater State Hospital. And then he can't even recognize things that are going on around him, and maybe he wants that for himself, and he can't care. Um, at the court, they showed them on video conference from Bridgewater State Hospital, and he doesn't pay attention to things. And I was crying, and he's just sitting there. I felt bad for the guy that was giving testimony to the judge, and then the judge told him he's spending a year in Bridgewater State Hospital. So I'm sure they're allowed to make phone calls. That can be interesting if you right, because from there, Brian Buchanan would be much calmer. It would be like when he called me from Gavin or called me from jail. Right. Yeah. But you could get more testimony and stuff over the long term if they're allowed to make phone calls. Otherwise, the other voicemails, and like I told you, you can tell at Gavin he was getting more depressed because major clinical depression. In his mind, I'm sure he's happier when he's drunk, but the problem is he's preying upon society and he's picking the most vulnerable people to do it to, like myself. That's the problem. In terms of just let him stay outside drinking like that, I don't think the court and the police agree. Okay, so he had told me stories about the police taking pity on him and giving him alcohol. It's probably because he wouldn't stop flipping out. They have to put him in that chair and stuff, not they're his friends. Okay, so hopefully my Bluetooth isn't interfering with this because it's connected to the would that matter for the microphone? No. Okay. She went to the store. She's gonna be like, oh, is this okay by the way? I think she knows I'm live streaming or something. When I closed it and I was like, oh no. It's her privacy. Yeah, she doesn't need to be on a live stream like that. She doesn't. She wanted to live stream. She'd live stream. Okay, this is my very close. This is gonna go in this big. I don't save his clothes going in the dumpster. I'm keeping my maroon pants because I look awesome in them, especially when I start rebuilding myself. I'm 53. I think I could get at least another year out of this hot body. And when I'm doing my diet by next summer, when I'm taking those walks and stuff out, I think I could get another year. Yeah, I just got to get, especially in Florida where the weather's nice all, bodybuilders, where the weather's nice all year, I can still do push-ups and walk and stuff. We have no snow. I'm thinking that you guys are going to be buried in snow this year, but we'll see. If they keep nuking you like that, you will, but it will be after a hot phase or something like you saw in 2022. That blizzard. I warned Jerry in my own little way. He's left Massachusetts before. You people don't need to leave Massachusetts because you don't want to live outside. You'll be fine. They'll bring out the things to do the snow. I'm not saying you're going to be buried in snow. No, they got all those services. They're not going to do that to you. You're not going to do Buffalo, New York, so just relax. That's not what I'm saying. Right. You don't want to go to Florida and have to live outside to escape the cold. You have your houses and your homes that have heat. So don't worry about that. You'll have all that stuff. I won't be able to walk in the snow because I can't live outside here. Okay. And because of what Brian Buchanan did, very unsafe in Quincy. So if you're homeless in Quincy, you need to get out of Quincy. The rest of you, you don't really have a choice because, again, there's no housing for you to flee to. So that's your housing. You just have to tolerate it. I can go over the cough again real quick. Okay. That apparently Brian Buchanan didn't seem to understand because he doesn't understand things. I told you not to go back there. Numb nuts with a thing vomiting. It's not about you drinking. Off now. So he failed to recognize all those people with pneumonia and coughing, and that we were coughing and coughing and coughing, right? And he didn't notice this. We get in someone's truck or around a bunch of people, they never catch that cough. And like within days of leaving Quincy, the cough went away. Even with all that smoking, it went away. So yeah, he's already had pneumonia. He probably has lung cancer. He said he had COVID. There's no such materials, and what's happening is your bacteria level out there in Quincy is like super high because it's Sodom. Mora is in California. I explained it in the early years, and it's not my problem if you didn't believe me because I'm crazy and you won't stop blocking me. So he himself said that he could see the Abram bowing, and I explained it to him, and he still proceeds to do what he's doing. You just go, okay. That's all they can do is go, I don't care. And like, yeah. It sounds like people would go, like Jerry thought at the library. It sounds like people would go, he's just trying to get back with it. He's desperate for money. That's why he keeps asking for money. And a hotspot he could sell. Right. They sell everything, steal your stuff, sell it. Because there's people that will buy something for $2. It's a portable hotspot until Managed Health disconnects it. That's not his problem. They sell people phones. I saw some chick at Newmarket talking to the Assurance Wireless dudes because she clearly bought someone's phone and didn't realize it wasn't going to work. He probably sold the phone I gave him that had all those photographs in it. A fly in the wall at that, and you go, oh my fucking God, what the hell is this? Prophet from God or something. No, he's a maggot. No, he's prophet from God. Ha 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 ha. So yeah, I got you these headphones because while Tom and I were in downtown Crossing buying Tom a phone, ha 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 ha. I stole these and gave them to you. Maybe 2 weeks ago, I was talking about the headphones. He goes, no, those were my, I was plugging in. He goes, I know, those were my headphones for a while I was using them. Whoa, dude. Whoa. It's called pathological lying. Yeah. Once you catch them once, you just go, you literally will just tell any lie and keep doing that. Oh my God. That's mental insanity, folks. Oh no, those are my headphones. I used to use them when between downtown Crossing with Tom, ha ha ha, and showing up back up here. It's that sad. Yep. Oh, it's sad. It's. I gotta check the weather. It seems like it's gonna be warm today. Thank God. Thank God, because that day that I was just talking to Candy about the last dinner. He didn't want to go, and I go, I am not leaving you alone in my sister's apartment. Oh yeah. It's just whoa. Drug addict. Because Candy goes, there isn't anything. I go, Candy, you don't know how low these people go, man. Laundry quarters he'd take, right? Laundry quarters, maybe a couple of these handbag things, any of it, anything they think they can sell. Oh yeah, you come back from a dinner and you go, what the fuck happened? And where the fuck? And then we would be like, what the fuck? And trying to call the cops and shit. Where the fuck is this dude? Someone already told me. I met someone in 2012 in Taunton, and she told me that she destroyed a relationship with her mother because her mother took a vacation and she sold everything in her mother's house. Obviously, she knew she was going to get kicked out. They don't care. He told me that people he doesn't get it. He told me that people in the jail wanted to buy the ring, started going green a little bit. It's not real silver and stuff. You just go, okay. After sending me a picture where you can clearly see his hand with the ring on, he's got to do that. And then whatever it is he's doing right now, he's trying to get off on the rage and try to get me upset. And it's like a weird kind of disgusting thing. And I don't do that. I'm not bad at it. She stopped doing it too with her son. And he'd have to go down there and just scream at her and she'd say nothing back. And then go back in his bed and lay down, sleep. Can't make this stuff up. You just go, oh my God, you're as sick as Tommy. Whoa, okay. Because Tommy didn't drink. Right, so you just go. It's clearly getting worse. It's clearly getting worse. Unless in 2023, I think he was smoking meth and crack cocaine. He wasn't smoking marijuana like that. You just go, it's definitely getting worse. And he wasn't on his medication. That's what he told me, unless that's a lie too. He said he wasn't on his medication then, and he doesn't drink when he's on his medication, and he's not using anything but weed and his medication, and I'm high as a giraffe's pussy and all this stuff. Things that a normal person would be completely just shocked and embarrassed by and run to a hospital. These people still think is funny, and they call it tweaking, and they think it's funny. And then they stay friends. Right. They stay friends and they're like, oh my God, I was tweaking. And then they think it's funny to terrorize people that aren't psychopathic. Oops.
I know what you mean, but it's so pretty. So pretty and pink. Yeah, pretty.
Smells good, huh?
Yeah, and it's just